All right, this is I guess from the American side, it would be the passenger side lock mechanism for a 1977 MGB Roadster. From this perspective, it looks like everything's good. It's all serviceable, but turns out there's a problem with the lock mechanism. This lever right here is supposed to pivot, and when it moves, when it pivots left and right or up and down, then you can see that this piece right here will unlock the door. Problem is, you can look in there, you can see that the pivot is broken. See how it moves up and down? It's not supposed to do that. It's just supposed to move in a circular motion. And if you're looking at it from this perspective, if you can look inside, see if I can get a better light. You can see it moving up and down in there. It's not supposed to do that. So this is actually not an easy part to find online. It's not available on Moss. You can get them on eBay, but questionable serviceability when you go that route. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna drill this one rivet out. You can see on the other side, all the other rivets go straight through, or they're handled by the screws. This right here doesn't go all the way through, so it's going to stay in place. So I'm going to pull this rivet. This rivet right here should be the only thing holding the front piece with the back piece, and I'm going to solve that broken pivot point by welding it back into place and kind of remanufacturing it. Let's see how it comes out. All right, so from the anvil you can see I drilled it out, and then I drove that through the hole. When I did the drill, I wanted to make sure I didn't get onto the plate metal. I did a little bit on the edge right there, but the idea is to stop drilling before you do any damage. There's also a rivet in this corner right here. This wasn't smashed, but I did have to drive it through. It goes to this little other side right here. It did take a drift and drive that through to make the hole. So at this point, it's about ready to come up. I'm going to take it apart and show you the insides. Okay, so the little pin that goes right there, it was necessary to drive that all the way through. It's not squashed. It's just press fit. So you can see it didn't get deformed or anything. It's not been squashed. So it'll go right back in place. Now I'm going to go ahead and lift this out. This little thingy here is some kind of a spring on there, but let's see where everything flies out and like crazy when I pull this up. Okay, dokie. Okay, well, we do have some springs in here. See, this is spring loaded right there. I have a spring down here. Well, this thing is a mess. Good thing I got it clean. I've taken it apart. I'm going to clean it all out. This right here, this tab, is the reason why this bar, see if I can find the bar. Yeah, okay. So this right here, that movement right there is not supposed to be there. And the reason why it is that this tab is bent upward. It's not supposed to be bent upward. I should just be able to bend that down and put it right back together again. But I'm going to go ahead and clean it up and re-lube it, and we'll see how that works. But this is the offending tab. Now the reason why this happened, the reason why we replaced the door locks to begin with, is somebody had taken a big screwdriver and forced the locks. And in doing so, they put this over torque and it bent it. And so from then on, you could never lock the doors. So anyway, here's what the inside of a door lock looks like. Here's a little bit better look at the part that is broken. You can see how this thing, this little lever is, it wobbles around in there. And the reason why that makes it not work is that when this is only supposed to move in one axis, but it also moves in this axis as well, and that makes it come off of the door lock mechanism. So just wanted to get a better close look. You can see this is the before, and then when I clean it up and bend this tab back into place, then you'll see the after. Okay, got the little tab bent back in place, got it all cleaned up real nice. You can see when you turn this little lever, it activates the mechanism as it should. That's working right. And you can see, even if you look, there's a little notch right at the bottom of this that has been squeezed into place. And I totally didn't even see that because it was all dirty, but that does the number. This right here is the door latch, and this is the lock. And it's working now with no problems. Now all I got to do is make sure I get all the springs back, and we'll be back in operation. All right, so here's the layout of the springs as I understand them. There's two of these up here. It's a little wedge with a little doohickey on the bottom to accept this little spring right here. There's two of them, and they sit this little groove. That little groove rides alongside this little shaft like that. There's two of them. They sandwich on top of each other. These will become compressed, and they will ride right behind this flange right here. That's where they'll be pushed in and held in. The little notches, these little notches right here, will go into these little slots right here. So you'll click it in like this and then fold it down. The next spring is this one right here. It's already charged. You can see it. There's a right triangle or a right angle that goes right in the notch right here. It actually touches that one little shaft right there. And the hooky part goes right behind that piece right there. Okay, so that activates the spring that holds this back. Okay, the complicated part here is this spring. This spring will go over the center shaft. The little right angle hook will go right into that slot, and that will slide back and forth in this little groove, and it'll click this into place when it opens and closes. Now the real trick is the little hooky part. This hook part is going to connect right there. So when you connect it into place, this is going to be loose, and then you'll have to reach in with a screwdriver through here and charge it, and it will hook in right there. So break down into three components that you can reassemble. This spring's kind of floating, so you kind of have to be careful for that. The back latch goes in this little spot, and the little hooky latch goes up here, and it will connect. It'll connect right up under there. I'll show you when we get closer. The hard one is these springs right here. You have this piece that kind of comes in two pieces, and it will go like this, like that. It slides up and down that shaft, but this spring right here, there's no way that you can just put that in there, load it, and then connect it, because it goes spring, goes everywhere. So what you'll notice is there's a little hole right here on the back side, and that actually lines up. You see where the wear line is. It lines up right there, and this spring actually fits in there. So once you get it all together, I believe. You just need to push that spring in there and load it, and then that will be connected. So let's give her a run. Okay, so got that all connected. You can see in here how this one piece is free floating. I can move it with this. See that? And it will come up. That's this piece that meets here. But the spring is not in it, right? Now the bottom one, the spring is in there. You can see it works just fine. But this top one, you couldn't get the spring in independently. So you need to put that in without the spring. And then you can just take the spring and shove it in that hole right there. You may have to give it a little bit of a turn. It is a spiral. And you can just jam it in there. And it will go spring, hopefully. There you go. And you can just load that in right behind that free floating piece. And now you can see that is, now that one's spring loaded. You can see the spring activating on that. Okay, so then the last thing that you need to connect is this little spring right here. You can see the little hook right there. That little hook right there. And you just need to push it back. Pushing it back till it connects. Here. Anyway, it's going to connect right on this little ledge right here. So when you're sliding that back, you want to slide it back until it connects right in there. Clink, just like that. See the little tab right there? All right, I've put the pin on here so that it's nice and stable. You can see you don't have to squash that. I just put it in the vise and it's holding it in. I'm not going to replace the rivet here because once it's in place, there will be 3 screws holding it together in place. So we won't have to worry about that. So just to review, these springs here are doing their thing now. And the way that you get that top spring in is through this hole right here. The spring that's right in this center shaft is connected back through here. And you can see when you open the door, oops, you know, that the tab is right there. Right there. Okay? So just a quick demonstration. This is a locked door, and now it's open, ready to be ready. Okay, you can see I can close the door, I can open the door, I can close it and lock it. If I get it all the way in, and then I can unlock it and open it. So that's how that mechanism works. All the springs are in place, everything's doing what it's supposed to be doing. This initial damage, if you're looking at one of these and you're inspecting it, if you can't see that tab right there, then you know that that's been bent, and this apparatus right here that works the lock up and down. Oops, I guess you have to close the door to lock the door. All right, so this that normally will lock and unlock the door, if it is moving in this direction, then it'll detach from the door lock on the handle, and then you won't be able to unlock the door. So that's the solution for this. Some people take this little piece off and they've been plating it. If you want to do that, I would recommend that you do the disassembly like I did. I would not douse this in any kind of plating. The reason why is right here. This is a piece of aluminum. So if you put it in any kind of plating acid, then this aluminum will get chewed away, and you don't want to do that. So I would just take this outside plate off if you're going to do that. But the reassembly and the way that you put those springs in is, I think I've demonstrated how to get this one in. It's the hardest one. And so there you go. Real quick instructional video on how to disassemble and reassemble the lock mechanism on a 1977 MGB.